So now we're going to do a very simple brine for a nice piece of fresh steelhead that we got from Lepp Farm Market. I had a look at it. It's a beautiful piece of fish. I brined one already, so that'll what we'll be putting on the grill in a bit here. We'll be smoking it with apple wood, chips and chunks. We're going to get some nice flavor infused in there. The brine itself is really, really simple, and I think sometimes we need some really simple recipes just to make people try a few things and see if they like them. There's a fun little trick that I learned in this recipe about floating a potato in salt water. If the potato floats, the water is salty enough to put the fish into. And this is really just salt and brown sugar. That's all it is. And it's equal parts. So we're going to start first by adding water to salt. See if the potato floats. We'll know our water's salty enough, and whatever amount of salt I put in, I'll match with the sugar. So we'll start with 1 cup of water. And my tablespoon. Okay, let's start. 1. 10. So we have 10 tablespoons of salt. Really important when you're working with salt in your brines is to break the salt down and completely dilute it into the liquid. So I'm going to just do that for a little bit here. I'm going to add another cup of water in. A little bit more liquid. And let's just get that going. We're using cold water. There's some arguments that go back and forth, cold water or hot water. Obviously it dissolves quicker in hot water, but overall most of the recipes for brines recommend cold water. It's just, I can't explain to you all the details on that, but it's just what happens with the water and how it interacts with the food. So as it breaks down and dissolves, we're getting there. I think I'll add another cup of water. That's now my 3rd cup of water. Broken down. Now we're going to add a bit more water. Now this little method, we're going to find out. I tried it earlier today and it worked. Let's see if it works the second time. So apparently when the potato floats in the water, obviously without salt in the water, ordinary water, the potato wants to sink. But in salt water, it will want to float. So let's give it a little test. There's some buoyancy there. I think we're going to have just a little bit more water. And we might need to add a little bit more salt. 2 more cups of water. Let's leave the salt out for a minute. We'll just see here. Oh yeah, no, that's the buoyancy we're looking for. So, according to that recipe, that's enough salt. To that, we're now going to add 10 tablespoons of sugar. 1. And 10. So we've got equal parts salt and sugar, the right color, the right consistency. 10 salt in 8 cups of water was enough to float the potatoes. So now we're going to put this beautiful piece of fresh steelhead. Look at that fat. That is going to come out nicely when it smokes. And we lay that in the brine, and you want to make sure that you're completely submerged. So what you can do is if your fish wants to float, you can put a nice plate over top of it to force it down. And we're going to go put this in the fridge and come back and put the brined piece on. So with the steelhead, we're going to smoke it with wood chips and wood chunks. And this is our Jackson Grill smoker box. There's the handy dandy lid. We may or may not use the lid today, depends. But we're going to start off with the smaller chips. These have been pre-soaked overnight. It's important that you wet the wood because wet wood smokes. Anybody that sat beside a campfire burning wet wood know that. So infuse as much into that salmon as possible. The salmon's going to probably, the steelhead's going to take probably about 30 minutes. We're going to run it on, and this is called hot smoking. And so what we're going to do is We're going to have the piece of steelhead on the Island Grillstone again, so it's diffused heat, which is nice. It's warming up, it's cooking the salmon to the core, not overdoing it. We're going to end up nice and juicy. But here we're going to start off with letting off the wood chips. So we're going to turn these two burners on. And then we're going to close the lid, and we're going to wait for the first sign of smoke. And then we're going to put the fish on and possibly add the chunks right on top. So we've let the wood chips develop for about 20 minutes, a little bit longer than pellets. Pellets light off in about, I'd say in about 30-40 seconds. You've got some good smoke action. Wood's gonna last a little bit longer, so I've put in some nice wood chips, and along that some nice applewood chunks. So we'll get some nice intense aromas around this steelhead. I'm going to put the steelhead on the Island Grillstone, and we're going to cook it for approximately half an hour and hopefully get a nice infusion of smoke. It was brined for 2 hours in the brine. So we're going to go in here with this piece of fish. Excuse my hands while I lay it on the stone. And right now what we've got going is we've got the two burners underneath of the wood, providing enough heat to keep the wood smoking. And underneath the Island Grillstone, the fish is cooking over indirect heat right now and absorbing the heat from the stone, which is a nice radiant heat, which is going to get into the middle of the meat. And it's just going to be a delicious piece to eat with some nice crackers later. So there we have a beautiful steelhead hot smoked on the Island Grillstone using applewood chunks and a half-hour cooking time. It's not a strong smoky flavor, but it is a nicely infused smoke, and it pairs up nicely with these great crackers and salmon, cream cheese, capers, and purple onions. It's a really nice snack in the afternoon with a glass of wine and a beer.